Hello and welcome back to another tip of the week. And today we're going to talk about Google ranking and a bit about user experience in relation to Google ranking. I'm going to talk about a little bit about why that is important, okay? So let's go. Okay, so let's say you're a developer, or even if you're just hiring someone to make a site for you, what do you have to worry about in regards to user experience for your Google ranking? Well, pretty much everything. Your site has to have a good user experience, because Google has been using for years several metrics to rank websites. Google uses SEO, your keywords, your content, to see if your content is relevant to the search and to your keywords. The content and the keywords have to match. What you use for keywords has to do with your content, okay? It has to be relevant to your content. Uses accessibility. If your website is accessible for screen readers and such. Uses loading time, uses to see if you have a lot of pictures and things like that, and several other stuff. And now they have announced that they're going to use something called Web Vitals that has to do with user experience. And what Web Vitals are as of now is loading, interactivity, and visual stability. But they have already said that they're going to add other stuff. So that's why I'm not going to talk about what they already have. I'm going to talk how to think your website so that you don't have to adapt your website every time Google adds something to Web Vitals. And how can you think that? How can you predict? It's very simple. You need to think user experience. Your user needs to have a good experience in your website, because that's part of what Google is seeing right now. Does your user find stuff easily on your website? Can they read stuff easily? Is the contrast between the background and the text good? Are your menus easy to use? Are your links easy to click? Does the user click a lot of links by mistake easily because this website moved, because stuff starts popping out in front of them and they end up clicking the wrong thing? Or is it easy to click on the links? That's what you need to think. The user experience needs to be easy, and you need to check this experience against several types of users. So you need to test your website. That's very important. Always testing your website, sending your website to other people to check and to test in different devices, with a mouse, with a screen reader, with a touch screen, with different stuff, and getting that feedback so that you can always improve on the experience. Because if you're always looking for user experience, not only does your user like your website and therefore will be more likely to return to your website or to stay in your website for a while, but you will be getting ahead and making sure that your website has a good ranking on Google, regardless of what Google starts citing as a metric, because Google already said we are going to be looking at user experience. So if you develop your website thinking of user experience, you're already thinking of what Google is adding or what Google is thinking. And even though they have set a few metrics now, maybe what you already thought of the new metrics that are gonna come in later. Because if you're thinking and being careful with user experience, which was always super important, you're getting ahead and getting ahead of Google. And so you won't have that trouble that, every time Google is saying something, you have to go there and redevelop your website to better your user experience. And so it's very important to, if you're a developer, to study user experience. And if you're contracting someone to develop your website, to hire someone who will take into account user experience, who will test user experience, or hire someone specialist in user experience. And user experience is everything from the time the website takes to download, to the ease to use your website in any kind of screen, in any kind of device. Okay, so think about that. Think about user experience from now on, not only because that's a way to please your user and therefore make them come back, but because now Google is taking that into account and you want to rank well in Google. And they have a website here, web.dev, where you can come to learn more about the Web Vitals, and more importantly, to test your websites to see how they are ranking and what should be. They have a lot of tips for you to what you can improve and so on. And do not forget user experience. To have a good user experience, you need to test with different kinds of public, different people. Because, like for instance, I have a bankline experience that I never had a problem, but I have a student that has a few motor issues, and in the same bank, when I help her with the bankline, she has a horrible experience because the menu keeps disappearing and stuff like that. And that's the kind of stuff you don't want happening in your website. You don't want someone to have a horrible experience in your website because your links are hard to click. Your links need to be easy to click and your information needs to be easy to be found, and so on. Okay? So I hope this helped you think about this and go look for user experience. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I have a new course up, so links to my courses are in the description, and see you next week.